on, everybody? It's Rick from Gardening with Barchuckin. We're out here today building a couple raised beds. I'm going to bring you along, show you the process. I would definitely invest in a Craig jig if you guys are doing this. And then also, a little tip is this side of the board looks really nice. This side of the board looks really nice too. This has the stamping on it. So I want the holes to be on this side. So when I put it in the Craig jig, it's going to be like that. Then we flip it over and put the holes on the other side. Then now, when we go to set the screw, it's going to be tucked in the little pocket. Okay, so when we're putting this together, we want to make sure that the ends are nice and square. So on this side I can see that it's not lining up as nice, so I want to come over here and make sure, like I said, everything's nice and square. I'm pulling up on this one end just to square it up. This here is nice and square now. Okay, so these screws, they're 1 inch. Here's the screw. It has this sharp point to help punch through the metal and this little rubber gasket to actually create a good seal on the inside. So with the making of this wall, the bottom is pressure treated wood. The sides and the top are fir. Because the bottom's going to be in contact with the soil and being wet all the time, that's why I wanted to use the pressure treated. So my total length is 25 3/4. The total length of the panel is 25 1/2. So I have a 1/4 inch gap that I will have at the top, because when you use this metal is very sharp. That's why I'm using these gloves to protect my hands. So I do want the metal all the way to the bottom, and then that's going to give me a 1/4 inch up at the top. Okay, another little tip for you guys. If you can see, there's peaks and there's valleys. Okay, peak, valley, peak. You don't want to try to screw in the peak, because that's going to smush it down. You want to go into the valley. That will make it easier for connecting. Here's our 4-foot end that's been constructed. We still have one more 4-foot end to do, and then the 2 8-foot sections, and then we can go ahead and put everything together. Okay, so this is our 8-foot section. Same as with the 4-foot section that we finished up. We want to make sure that all these corners are nice and square. Another tip for you for when you set your bed up. This is the 8-foot section. There's 3 pieces, 2 corners, 1 middle. Set your corners up on the ends first. Then you can find the exact middle for this middle stud. Okay, so we now have this galvanized steel on this bed. What I did was I made 2 marks of where the center brace was, so then I knew where these screws had to attach on the inside. And I'll show you how the outside's going to look. So this is the reason why we went ahead and we put the pressure treated on the bottom. the pressure treated is always going to be in contact with the moist soil, so I won't have to worry as much about it rotting as I would the Douglas fir. Okay, so we got the sides constructed. We're about to start putting everything together. At first, what I was planning on doing, because it's 8 feet long and 4 feet wide, so I got every little bit of space out of it, I was going to put it like this, but there ends up being a gap in here. So what I now decided to do, now what I'm doing is I'm taking this 4-foot section and butting it right up to the 8-foot section. So now I'll have the steel material all in between. Okay, so the other thing I'm doing before we start buttoning it up, checking everything's nice and level. So we're good with that. I'm going to go ahead and start putting screws in. I have this clamp, which is a big help right now. I'm looking to do 2 up top, 2 at the bottom, and then 3 along the side to secure this bed. Now, good. Let me just grab. I think I'm going at the bottom next. Yeah, just as long as you got your foot kind of pushed up against it. So we're at 111 inches and an 1/8 inch. And 111 inches. To check for your bed being square, you want to check from one corner to the opposite corner, and then check the other corner to the opposite corner. As long as those 2 measurements are within a 1/4 inch, your bed is pretty square. If it's skewed, you'll get a larger number, like 112 on one, and then maybe 109 on the other. So it's 3 inches off. So you can just kind of, it's basically racked. It's twisted a little bit. So you can square it up, and then once you have that squared, you're good to go. You have a perfectly level and square bed. Okay. Just checking to make sure everything's still nice and square, which it is, which is a great thing. I'm going to go ahead, I'll make sure that I put the items that I use in the description down below, so you have a little parts list, so you can build one 4x8 raised bed yourself. Make sure you guys are liked and subscribed so you can come along, follow us on this journey. I got some debris behind us from tree trimmings. We're going to load the bottom up like a hugelkultur style, where we're putting wood at the bottom. It's going to go ahead, break down, hold moisture, and allow us to grow some really great vegetables this season. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day. So, side wall is now constructed. This is the 4-foot end. We still have
is friggin' rough.
Is if you measure corner to opposite corner, and then the same side but the opposite corner to this other. That was horrible. And of course, thank you very much.
The stuff right behind you.
Yeah, no, I'm just.
Yeah, that's wrong.